family moves into a 200-year-old Virginia farmhouse.
It was your typical postcard, antebellum, Southern plantation house. We wanted to be there forever.
And soon discovers they are not alone.
Is somebody there?
It spooked me. It spooked me to my core.
Not one entity, but two.
There was this really foul smell. It was like a smell of death.
One tormented soul.
This is my house. My house.
And another hell-bent on tormenting others.
You know, this thing is not going to stop.
What happens when your dream house turns into a living nightmare? In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. In the fields of Southampton County, Virginia, stands a 200-year-old farmhouse. In the summer of 2008, Billy Quattlebaum moves in with his new girlfriend, Tiffany McKinnon.
Oh, be careful with that one. My china's in there.
Okay, I can tell. Thank you so much.
They've been dating just 5 months.
This weather's crazy out here.
I know. Ah, found it. Have to commemorate this occasion.
Oh, okay.
It was very quick. What made me fall in love with him was just how jolly and goofy and silly he was, you know, because I'm the same way.
Oh, that's a good one.
We made a decision, you know, let's just get a place together. And she said, hey, I found this great house. You know, it's 20 acres, it's a big old house.
Both Tiffany and Billy have fallen in love with the property, in spite of its horrific past.
There's so much history in the area. It goes way, way back. Slavery and plantations as far back as the early 1600s. Tobacco and cotton were probably the first huge crops that were planted.
But the sheer beauty of the house and its surprisingly low rent are too hard to resist.
It felt like it fell into our lap. It felt like someone was basically giving us this gift to start our life with. Let's do it, let's take the leap and see where it goes.
Billy's daughter, Georgia, is 8.
What are you looking for?
My rabbit, I can't find it.
It's in this box. I remember packing it.
We wanted to get away from a lot of the traffic and the daily grind and really live quietly and peacefully.
Oh, there you are.
And Billy said one of his dreams was always to raise Georgia in the country.
Where do you think we should put this one? I think the bed would go there, probably.
That'd be good.
It was awesome. It was huge. I could roam around and people not worry about where I was because we were in the country and nothing really happened in the country.
But what the family doesn't know is that they are not alone. And the eerie presence may not be confined to just the farmhouse. It's surrounded by 20 acres of property and includes an old barn.
We got 5 or 6 chickens, 2 ducks, and a rabbit. And it was turning into a zoo overnight, but, you know, Georgia loved them. Tiffany loved them. I enjoyed, the whole idea of it.
But inside, the barn has an ominous feeling.
I did start to feel like something wasn't right not long after we moved in. I went into the barn, to the back stall. I noticed that there was a silence. It was eerie.
Is somebody there? Billy? The door's stuck. I can't get out. Hey, Georgia? Hey, is someone there? Hello?
It was a scary, scary feeling. I told myself, oh, it had to have been a gust of wind, even though I knew it wasn't. It's a feeling of don't look behind you, just get out of the barn.
About a week after moving in, Billy is working late while Georgia is at her grandparents'.
Let's get you fixed up here.
It was the first time I was alone in the house. The air got very thick. In the middle of summer, the temperature dropped. I felt a chill.
Billy? Billy, is that you? Hello? Billy? Billy, you won't believe what just happened. I was trying to change the light bulb in the chandelier and I heard footsteps in the house.
I was very panicked. I was really creeped out.
No, it wasn't like that.
I teased her about the house. It's the house messing with you.
No, I swear.
I was like, Tiffany, the house is almost 200 years old. The wiring isn't the greatest in the world, and old houses creak. Don't worry about it.
No, you're...
What he said to me in that moment is the house talking to you. And I remember getting angry.
No, you're no help. I'm getting out of here. I have to go.
I remember hanging up the phone and I grabbed the keys. I jumped in the truck.
For the next few weeks, Tiffany tries to convince herself that she's just imagining things.
I did the same thing when I was your age.
Our happiness, it kept my mind blocked from a lot of what was going on.
The feeling of finally having a family, it was overwhelming. I just hoped we would stay there forever.
But when night falls, that happiness is a distant memory.
Billy.
I heard a banging coming from downstairs in the house. I walked down the staircase, and the banging was louder and louder, and it was getting very intense. It was so dark that I couldn't see, and I had to open the door to see what was going on. I knew that it was an older house. I knew that it had history. I think I had an inkling already that there was some energy in the house.
Hello?
Someone was trying to let me know you're not alone.
I know you think I'm crazy. She used to tell me that. I know you think I'm crazy.
Ever since Tiffany McKinnon moved into a 200-year-old Virginia farmhouse, she's had the feeling she is not alone. Strange events plague her in her waking hours and restless nights. After 3 months of terror, the spirit finally makes his intentions clear.
This is my house. This is my house.
Get up! Let go of me! Let go of me! Let go of me!
Honey, wake up. Shh, it's okay.
Please, come on.
You okay?
It was pretty frightening how vivid it was. He just busted through the door and he grabbed me and he screamed at me. He towered over me. His face was riddled with sadness and almost had a look of fear in his eye. When you're looking at an animal who's showing a sign of aggression, but you see that it's because they're afraid. I was very disoriented, but I just remember hearing the name Joseph. All I thought was Joseph, Joseph, Joseph.
Without telling Billy, Tiffany decides to investigate. At a local library, she locates deeds and property records and learns that the original owner of the house ran a plantation. After his death, he left the house and surrounding property to his caretaker, a freed African-American slave named Joseph.
The hair stood up on my neck and my eyes immediately teared up. It's almost like a spiritual experience, you know? If that makes sense, it was incredible.
But Joseph's story doesn't have a happy ending. Further digging reveals that shortly after he inherited the property, Joseph was forced to give it back to the relatives of the original owner.
This is my house.
An injustice had been done. It's a heavy feeling when you do know this place that you think is so beautiful, you know, for you was at one point a source of pain for somebody else.
Despite Tiffany's compassion, Joseph has made one thing clear. He wants Tiffany out.
I know who the man in my dream was.
Tiffany decides to share her findings with Billy, but he refuses to believe that the house is
This
haunted.
place.
You said a ghost?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Like,
it's the same guy.
that was just a nightmare. You just
No,
imagine it. So-
I'm telling you, I saw him clear as day, right there.
She said, you know, this house is haunted. Okay, Tiffany. She says, no, I'm serious.
Look, don't fill your head up with this type of stuff, okay? You're just gonna drive yourself crazy.
We hadn't been living with each other that long, so now I'm starting to think maybe her mind just has an overactive imagination, maybe.
Tiffany now has an understanding of the ghost who frightened her in her dream.
I thought, okay, well, I'm getting what's going on here, and maybe I'm meant to know something. You know, maybe I'm supposed to help in some way.
But she's about to find out something far more sinister lurks at the Franklin farmhouse.
There was this really foul smell, like rotten meat or a dead rodent. It was like a smell of death.
We're fixing.
There was just another really weird thing.
Georgia, here,
What
get this.
happened?
Here,
I'm
just
gonna
go ahead and get this
sick.
one. Come here. I thought we talked about this. I don't want you to bring it up the thing around Georgia.
No, it wasn't Joseph. This felt like something else.
Oh, come on. I really need you to stop this. You're scaring her.
I can't help it.
I
There's
don't want her to
something
hate this
going
place.
on in
Stop
there.
scaring
I'm
her.
scared.
I don't know if Joseph was trying to tell me, get out, this is my house, or if he was trying to relay to me that there's something else here.
But Billy has lost patience with Tiffany's fixation on the paranormal.
That's kind of where Billy's attitude started to shift. He didn't really want to talk about it.
Leaving Tiffany feeling very alone.
It was very isolating. You have something that happens to you that scares you, and so you want to tell the person that you love, and when they're shutting it out and they're not trying to hear it, it sits in your own mind, and it gets scarier.
I would ask her what's wrong. She would just look at me and say, oh, don't worry about it, it's fine. Nothing's wrong. And she just kind of pushed it off, but I knew that something's going on.
Daddy! Daddy!
Billy, wake up. It's Georgia.
Maybe there was this battle going on within the house that we just happened to be exposed to.
This is my house.
Maybe I was just picking up on this struggle between these two energies.
For weeks, Tiffany McKinnon has been sensing the presence of two forces in her home. A ghost who is troubled, and a demonic entity she can't explain.
The other energy didn't feel human at all.
So far, Tiffany is the only one who is convinced the house is haunted. Her boyfriend, Billy, is a non-believer. And in the fall of 2008, Tiffany fears that his daughter, Georgia, is the next victim.
Daddy! Daddy!
Billy, wake up. It's Georgia.
But when Billy checks on Georgia, he finds her sleeping.
I'd never heard her at the door crying. It was Tiffany waking me up and say, hey, it's Georgia at the door crying. And I got up and she's in her bed sound asleep.
Now, Billy is more skeptical than ever.
I didn't know what to think. Never in my mind did I think it was anything paranormal or the house was haunted. There's gotta be an explanation to this.
But the turbulent night is not over. For the next few weeks, Billy becomes increasingly volatile and angry, as if he were possessed.
It was a harsh winter in that house. And that's when I really noticed Billy's demeanor shift. quick to anger, didn't like to be asked questions. I knew who I had fallen in love with, and this was a different person.
Every single light is on in this room.
It definitely affected Georgia.
Are you in there? Georgia, did you leave the lights on in this room?
I'm in my room.
Come out here so I can talk to you about this. Come here. Come here. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're not even in here?
But I didn't turn them on.
Don't you lie to me.
It didn't sound like the same person. It didn't sound like my dad that I knew before. Then it sounded like a totally different man that I didn't see as my dad.
You don't
But
pay
I
these
didn't.
bills?
But I didn't.
You did.
Hey,
Look,
hey!
I'm talking to my daughter. Back up.
Tiffany barely recognizes him. His voice like a growl. His eyes, once bright blue.
They were dark.
You need to calm down.
You need to stay out of this.
He'd never looked at me like that before. It was terrifying. I didn't know how to snap him out of this. And that's when I realized whatever was in this house, it was getting stronger, and it was trying to take away my sense of security in him.
Hi, Stormy.
Georgia escapes the tension in the farmhouse by spending more time in the barn.
Did you eat the carrot I put in your cage? Hello?
One night she sees something that she can't explain. A demon in the form of a dark shadow man.
There was like this black figure where it like had the exact figure of a human, but yet it was just black. I felt like it knew that I saw it. I was terrified. I freaked out and ran back to the house.
Georgia decides not to tell anyone.
I didn't want to go to my parents and tell them because my dad hated the fact of us talking about it. So I felt alone and I felt scared and I felt helpless.
For the last 8 months, the family has been sharing the farmhouse and barn with spirits from another world. And no one is talking about it. With the family divided, the demon can now go after the weak.
I think that whatever's in that house that is evil and is sinister, it wanted to show me that it didn't matter if I was alone or if I was with the toughest guy in the world. It was going to break us.
Billy? Billy, is that you? Is someone there?
For more A Haunting, visit destinationamerica.com. An old Virginia farmhouse is plagued with paranormal activity, tormenting the family living there. And while Tiffany McKinnon has come to terms with the ghost of a freed slave, the other entity A demon appears to have taken over her boyfriend, Billy.
I noticed the change in Billy.
Get over it!
Quick to anger.
Georgia, look! 1, 2, 3, 4!
I knew who I had fallen in love with, and this was a different person. I was scared constantly. How do you go up against something that you can't see?
But the demon has far worse plans for Tiffany.
Billy? Is someone there?
What the hell just knocked me down the stairs? I mean, I knew instantly it was the feeling of hands on the back of my shoulders, and it was aggressive. I looked up the staircase, and there was nothing there. It was so terrifying. I couldn't move. I didn't want to move. I knew that something else was lingering right near me, and Billy came in the house.
Billy, help me.
Billy is stunned. The sight of his girlfriend lying at the bottom of the steps is overwhelming. And in a matter of seconds, he transforms back into his old self.
Something pushed me.
Oh my God.
Like a dark shadow or something. I didn't. You believe me, don't you?
Yes, I believe you. I believe you. It's okay.
Seeing my fear right in front of his face did snap him out of a denial that he was living in.
I'm right here. It's okay. Shh.
I felt like I had him back.
I felt so bad for her, Georgia, for ever leaving them in that house. That was beyond all measure of fear to me.
Desperate for help, Tiffany reaches out to Jackie Tomlin, founder of Central Virginia Paranormal Investigations.
That's really when we started to come back together and figure out, what are we gonna do? Let's get to the bottom of this.
It just doesn't feel safe here.
Tiffany had nowhere to turn. She was completely frustrated. When you're living in fear, you're not living.
A few weeks later, the team arrives while Billy is away on business. It's now March 2009. The family has been living in the house for 9 months. Jackie attempts to make contact with the entities.
Anyone there? If you're there, show me a sign. Anything you can...
It was an amazing experience to watch the door open in front of us, but it also showed what a bold presence that we were dealing with.
After a 12-hour investigation confirming active paranormal activity, Jackie is convinced that there is a sinister presence haunting the house.
There's just so much going on at this point that we cannot explain. I knew that we were dealing with more than just a human spirit. I told her whatever was going on in her home, there were several different entities there.
I think I understand Joseph, but I need to understand this other force better.
No, you need to tread very lightly here. These are extremely dangerous forces.
If it's a negative entity, there's no reason to pursue answers from it. There's no reason to want to know why it's there. There's no reason to want to know why it's messing with your family. It should be left alone.
We're not talking about just paranormal phenomena. We're talking about supernatural.
Meaning?
Meaning it's spiritual, not human. A demon.
I told her to leave it alone, or you're looking at more physical attacks to come if you don't.
Wait. We can't do it. We can't leave. We don't want to leave. We love this place too much. There's gotta be some other way. There's got to.
She really felt that it was in the best interest of our safety and our relationship as well to move out of the house.
I'm really sorry.
A few nights later, Billy is back home. Tiffany has yet to tell him about the results of the investigation.
What was that?
I don't know. You know what? I forgot to feed the animals. I'll go check on them.
Okay, I'll tuck her in. No, Alec decided. It would be much better if you just kept... Bedtime.
In Virginia, a 200-year-old home with extensive paranormal and supernatural phenomena has been tormenting a family for 9 months. Although Tiffany McKinnon no longer fears the spirit of the freed slave, Joseph, she is now dealing with a demon, a powerful presence that is wicked in nature.
You need to tread very lightly here. These are extremely dangerous forces.
Paranormal investigators have advised them to move.
What do you mean leave our house? We put all of our energy here. We put all of our money here. Like, this is where we want to be, and we can't see ourselves anywhere else.
Tiffany keeps the warning to herself, determined to stay in her home. But one night, she makes a gruesome discovery in the barn and realizes that the demon will stop at nothing to hurt them.
Stay here. Tiffany! Tiffany! What happened?
Dead. They're all dead.
It was horrible. They're just dead laying there, no marks on them, just dead.
I just think whatever was there just sucked the life out of them.
And they would have to break the news to Georgia.
It was devastating, and it was devastating for Georgia. She's just seeing death and death and death.
When I learned about the death of the animals in the barn, it was terrifying and very heartbreaking at the same time. In my mind, I was like, it's the man in black. He's doing everything in his power to scare me.
In desperation, the family turns to their last resort.
Thank God you're here. Come on in.
I reached out to the Catholic churches in Franklin.
And the idea was this priest is going to bless this house, and whatever is in this house, this is the weapon we're going to use.
I've been attacked. Billy's felt it. And the animals. We have a daughter, and we just don't feel safe.
Well, most times there's a perfectly reasonable explanation of what's going on. An exorcism is not even needed.
You could tell that this guy did not believe any word of it.
this your daughter's bedroom?
Until the temperature starts dropping and the smell of rotten meat's going on.
That's what I was talking about. There's something here.
Wait, hold on, where are you going?
This is all the house needs.
That's all?
The house is fine.
I mean, he was in and out of the house in less than 5 minutes.
Rather than stay in battle, he chose to run.
Is that it? Hey!
Here's holy water. Sprinkle it around the house. Put the sign of the cross on your daughter's forehead every night during prayers, and she'll be okay. You know, the only way it can hurt you is if you believe in it. Guess what, pal? Things are happening and we believe.
For the next few days, the family follows the priest's instructions, praying that the ritual will put the entities to rest.
It did look a little brighter. It smelled a little sweeter. And I thought, okay, well, maybe this worked. I started to feel Joseph less and less after the priest came. I hope it's because the presence of that priest and even my own personal prayers for Joseph helped him and sent him to heaven. I felt like Joseph was trapped there because this other thing was keeping him there.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
I was hoping that, everything would go back to normal. It would be like a peaceful, happy family.
Lay down, sweetie.
In Virginia, a monstrous and deadly demon is hell-bent on driving Billy Quattlebaum, his girlfriend, and his daughter out of a 200-year-old haunted farmhouse.
There's no safety nets when it comes to this type of thing. The ride ain't over and then you get to go on about your day. This is something that you're living with.
The voice that I heard, it didn't sound like a normal person's voice. It sounded like kind of altered, and, kind of just weird. It sounded like it was coming from directly next to me.
For Billy and Tiffany, the breaking point has finally come.
Georgia? Baby, what happened? Are you okay?
It was the man in black. He was standing right there. He called my name.
All right, Let's just get out of here. Come on, baby.
That was it. We were ready to go. I wasn't even gonna let it escalate beyond hearing a voice. You said her name. You acknowledged her. That's it. I'm done.
This thing has graduated from footsteps and closing doors to now it slowed you down the stairs. It's banging on her door or her windows. It's killed every animal that we own. The priest didn't help us. The investigation seemed to have stirred it up. We gotta get out of here.
It's okay. You're gonna be all right. Watch your head. Get inside.
Okay.
I don't even think I looked in the rearview mirror at this place as we were leaving the driveway.
It's September 2009. The family has survived more than a year of sheer terror. They break their 3-year lease and move out. For Billy, Tiffany, and Georgia, the ordeal is finally over.
Now look at your cards. See what we got.
In June 2013, Billy Quattlebaum marries Tiffany McKinnon in a small ceremony in Franklin, Virginia.
Been together a long time, and it's great. It's wonderful. You realize that maybe the dream isn't all in the house, but it's in the person.
2 pairs right there. That's a pretty good hand.
After everything that happened in the old house, the family is still haunted by memories and evidence. A closer inspection of the photos the family took on move-in day at the farmhouse reveals a frightening image, a ghostly form caught on camera.
My eyes teared up, and the hair on my arms and the back of my neck stood up. And I was kind of winded by it because it was so evident. And Billy didn't even want to look at it.
Some people don't believe, but I know that ghosts and demons and paranormal activity in general is real. It is very real.
The house in Southampton County still stands and is now home to a new family. It is unknown whether or not they've experienced anything supernatural.
We ride by it from time to time now and just barely look over there at it. I kind of believe there was several things going on there. Maybe Joseph at one time was trying to warn Tiffany in the beginning what is to be expected. And he's being tormented too, maybe.
It was a supernatural evil and is solely created to destroy. As far as the experience with the house, I don't ever want to forget it because I learned a lot of things about faith and strength and love for the people around you.
Two young brothers venture into the woods and encounter a demonic entity.
I didn't know what it was. A monster, maybe.
No place is safe, not even their home.
I was terrified. I knew there was something in our room.
It was looking at me.
As child's play turns into a real-life nightmare.
It's out there!
In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality.
Going deep? All right, superstar.
In the late 1960s, Sonny Yancey and his family live in Lake Worth in the largely undeveloped southern Florida woods,
All right, on two. Hut, hut.
where he plans for a quiet life with his wife Barbara and two sons, 12-year-old Tom and 7-year-old Tim.
Our house was pretty remote. It was at the end of this dirt road out in the middle of nowhere. Pretty isolated.
Barbara is a stay-at-home mother.
My mother, as a child, I remember her as a big, silver, shiny, cherubic smile on her face all the time. Just great energy.
Sonny is a carpenter and works in construction. He's also a Korean War vet who suffers from bouts of post-traumatic stress disorder.
Go deep! You gotta run faster than that, son!
My mom mentioned quite a few times how he was changed by Korea.
You gonna get it or what? Yeah.
Part of him has never been able to shake the hold of the battlefield.
In Korea, he was a sergeant in charge of a mortar platoon.
He would tell stories every once in a while about how they would take bulldozers and dig big holes and push the bodies in it and cover them up. He never was like that the whole time. When I was really little, he was bouncing me on his knee and, you know, being a typical dad.
All right, big third down play coming up.
But that summer, Sonny's temper gets inexplicably worse as he grows increasingly dark.
You know, I'm tired. I'm going into bed. Take a nap.
And then all of a sudden, man, he just got wicked.
Hey, hon.
And whatever is affecting him now seems to be coming from the woods. Lake Worth is a city in southern Florida settled in the late 1800s. Before that, its lush forests and waterways were a refuge for escaped slaves, as well as Native Americans fleeing the Seminole Wars. The woods are rumored to still hold secrets from the past and an unexplained evil.
My brother and I spent a lot of time in the woods.
It was probably 2-3 square miles of woods.
We had paths that we would use to walk around through there. Spent a lot of time playing together. My dad built a fort out there. It was this amazing thing.
You got me. I'm going down to the lake to look for frogs. Want to come?
Nah, I'll hold the fort.
You're so funny I forgot to laugh.
Squeak.
I got the feeling that I was being watched. I knew it. I mean, everybody has that inner feeling to where you know something's not right. My mind ran away with me. I didn't know what it was. A monster, maybe, but I know it scared me to death.
Tom tells no one about his experience in the woods. But 7-year-old Tim continues to explore, alone and unaware.
There was something in the tree, but I couldn't see it with my eyes. I could just see the tree reacting to it being there. This thing made its way down the tree to the bottom branch, and it landed in the leaves. Whatever it was, I didn't want to be near it.
Mom! 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 Hey! What is it? There's something out there.
I talked to my mom. I said that there was something out in the woods.
Just calm down. Just tell me everything. Tell me what happened.
I told her that something was out there, and I could hear it behind me in the grass. I could hear the twigs and branches breaking behind me.
It's okay. It's okay, sweetie. Calm down.
She summed it up as just an animal that I had perhaps startled or something like that.
The boys ignore their experiences and try to enjoy the summer,
That's good.
fearing any mention of the haunting could summon what they call the Shadowman.
And gentlemen, attention, if you will. Please note the wand I hold in my hand is solid wood.
When we would see these shadows moving outside the house, they were very frightening. They were terrifying for me and Tom. And we didn't talk about it.
One night, Tim is suddenly jarred awake from his sleep when he feels a presence.
I looked over at our window. I saw a shadow go past the window. I got up, looked out the window, and there was nothing there.
Tom! Tom!
In the late 60s, brothers Tom and Tim Yancey are haunted by an evil force they call the Shadowman in the Lake Worth, Florida woods where they live.
I knew things weren't right.
We knew that something was outside the house. We didn't know what it was.
Late one night, 7-year-old Tim can feel it coming closer.
Tom! Tom!
I looked out through the window to see what it was, and beyond the yard, in the trees, you could see a dark figure. It's human-shaped. That was very frightening.
Tim, what's going on in here? Tom, what'd you do to him?
Me? Nothing.
There's a man! In a yard!
I don't see anyone.
For crying out loud.
Their father, Sonny, is a Korean war vet suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Ever since the entity began tormenting the boys, he's grown increasingly angry and volatile.
That's just great.
The Shadowman disappears into the night. For now. But just 2 weeks later, 12-year-old Tom begins acting strangely.
One night, I opened my eyes to see Tom standing in the middle of the room.
Tom, what are you doing?
And he walked out the door.
Mom? Dad? Mom? Tom's outside.
It was almost like there was something drawing him out there.
Tom, what are you doing? Tom, wake up. Wake up.
It was very frightening for me because I knew that something was out there. I didn't understand what the interaction was, what was going on there.
For weeks, Tom continues to sleepwalk, often finding himself by the lake.
It's a weird feeling to wake up and not know where you're at.
To keep Tom from sleepwalking, Sonny and Barbara resort to drastic measures.
Hey guys, don't stay up too late.
My parents were getting frustrated. They were having to get up out of bed every night, night after night. So they made the decision to stack chairs in front of the door.
I'm not sure about this.
Look, if I can't sleep, I can't work. I can't work, we don't eat. All right?
I know, and we can't have him fall in the lake in the middle of the night either, but this is extreme.
Listen, let's just try and see if this works. Maybe the sleepwalking will stop, okay?
Okay.
Hey, what if I have to go to the bathroom?
Suck it up, soldier.
Hey, boys, knock it off in there. Lights out.
That night, Tom sleepwalks once again.
Tom, be quiet. You're gonna wake up Dad.
No sign of frustration on his face. He would just stand there and work at that door for a long time.
Tom, cut it out.
I saw our closet door open up by itself. Tom turned, he walked into the closet, and the door shut behind him. I could hear a conversation going on in there. There were two voices in there.
The boys are not alone.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
In the late 60s, an evil force they call the Shadowman torments brothers Tim and Tom Yancey in the woods and in their home in Lake Worth, Florida, while they play and while they sleep. One night, it begins calling 12-year-old Tom outside. His father barricades the door to keep him safe.
Tom wasn't able to get outside anymore. He wasn't able to go out into the woods in the middle of the night.
Tom, you're gonna wake up Dad.
But the dark entity will stop at nothing.
I think that whatever there was there that he was interacting with decided to come inside. There were definitely two voices talking. I could hear Tom and someone else inside that closet. I was terrified. I knew what was going on. I knew there was someone in our room.
Mom! 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 Mom!
Where's Tommy? What are you doing?
There's a man in here.
Where?
In here, with me.
I remember seeing a black shadow figure in there with red eyes.
But his mother doesn't believe him.
Thomas Yancey, get out of the closet and back into bed. I've had enough of your nonsense. It's gonna make real trouble around here.
She thought I was in there playing toys, messing around.
I was scared for him, but there was nothing that I could do. My parents, they didn't believe us.
Sweet dreams.
While their parents grow increasingly frustrated, the dark Shadow Man shows no signs of letting up. Then one night, it finds a new way to terrorize the boys.
I was laying in bed, and I felt something hit the mattress. And I reached over. It was a pebble, a small rock.
Cut it out.
More of them started falling, and it seemed like it was from a great height. And then it started bringing things into the house, things from the woods. I felt something land in my hair.
No! Ah!
Timmy, what is all this stuff in your bed?
It would drop insects in our bed, big, creepy Florida cockroaches. We didn't bring them in. There was no way for them to be inside with us. No windows open, anything like that. And they would be there. And that really confused my mother.
Timmy, what is all this?
That's when my mom started to notice that something was going on.
Desperate to help her children, Barbara gets angry and searches for answers anywhere she can find them.
Who are you?
She bought a spirit board. She brought it into the house and she tried to communicate with it.
What do you want?
I think that she tried to do something to save her kids, to save herself, to save her family, but I don't think that she knew what to do.
But little does the Yancey family know, Barbara has just unleashed the Shadowman's fury.
Good night, boys.
For more A Haunting, visit DestinationAmerica.com. In the summer of 1968, an evil entity is awakened in the woods outside Tim and Tom Yancey's home in southern Florida. For months, it torments the brothers day and night.
Hey!
Their mother, Barbara, suspects there is paranormal activity in their home, but has no idea how to help her 7- and 12-year-old sons. One night, the Shadow Man is too close for comfort.
Tom!
It was on the wall across the room. I was terrified. I remember the feeling of being there at the doorway to their room and knowing that I had to wake Mom and Dad up. Just the fear of how they were going to react, what they were going to say.
Timmy? Is that you?
The man. He's on our wall. Like a fly.
His father reacts with fury.
Now you listen here, son. I'm gonna tell you exactly what the problem is here. You ever heard of the boogeyman?
Boogeyman?
The boogeyman. Boogeyman does bad things to bad kids. If you're good, the boogeyman will go away. So you have to be good. Now get back to bed!
That notion that I was a bad kid and that I was doing bad things and that something had come to punish me had affected me for the rest of my life. I didn't know what I had done to deserve this. I felt that I was a bad kid and that I was being punished for something.
From that point on, the boys keep silent about their frightening experiences.
It was easier not to talk about this stuff and kind of deal with it ourselves. You tough up. There were so many nights that you would lay there still, covers over the head kind of mentality and hope that whatever it was, that it wasn't coming after you that night.
As the Shadowman grows stronger, their father, Sonny, a Korean War veteran who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, grows angrier.
He would be so frustrated because he didn't understand what was going on in our house. A lot of family dysfunction, a lot of chaotic environment, that those things seem to attract this negative energy into the home, and it's like a coupling, that it attaches to a family or to a location, and it thrives off of the negative energy that's there.
The brothers vow to stick together no matter what, and have a new name for their tormentor, the Boogeyman. On Christmas Eve, the boys sneak downstairs to look at presents under the tree.
We had gotten up and we had dared to venture into the living room. The banging started. It was back in my room. We're trapped. Dad's awake now, and we're outside in the living room, and we know he's gonna blame that sound on us, and we don't know what to do.
Boys, I warned you, you little... Come on, tell me this was an accident.
We didn't do it!
Tell me this was an accident.
I didn't do it, honest. I started shaking.
So, your friend from the closet comes down here on Christmas Eve and starts throwing things around. Where is he? Huh? Is he in the tree? Is he in the kitchen?
Leave him alone.
You want to stay up? You can stay up. Outside. Follow me.
Whatever this was had the ability of conscious choice. It was intelligent. It could get us in trouble, and it took great delight in doing that.
You guys like to stay up all night? Stay up all night. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep.
Their father employs a scare tactic he learned while in the military.
Stay out here with your ghost. Stand here all night.
Without realizing it, Sonny Yancey delivers his children directly into the arms of the dark entity that haunts them.
We stood there, and we stayed there.
Feel that?
My brother worked very hard to talk to me, to tell me stories, to keep us calm. But being outside of the house, knowing that there's something in those woods, and I was terrified.
Be all right. Be all right.
Mom! Mom!
For the past few months, an evil spirit they call the Shadowman has been haunting 7-year-old Tim and 12-year-old Tom in and around their home in Lake Worth, Florida. That winter, it finds a new way to torment the Yancey brothers.
Boys, I warned you, you little...
provoking the wrath of their father, who suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder.
So, you want to stay up? You can stay up. Outside! Follow me!
The punishment: stay outside all night in the woods. The woods where the brothers first encountered the Shadowman.
Stay out here with your ghost.
You could hear it walking around. You could see a shadow moving through the trees. And we're out there, and we're with it. And it's me and my brother, 2 kids, in the middle of the night, standing out in the middle of the woods. It was very frightening.
It's out there!
You all right?
Get out there and get them. We can't leave kids like that.
Mom finally got Dad to come out and let us back in.
All right, you guys can go back in now.
My father grew more and more frustrated. The phenomenon that was going on was increasing, and he would blame the noises that were happening on us. His punishments were very severe. The goal of this monster, I think, was to create more negative energy, more chaos, more depression in us as kids, and a more chaotic environment in our house.
The haunting of the Yancey home grows more dangerous.
You know there's something there. Something's doing it. It's in the room. It's with you. And you've got to reach down there and pull those sheets up. It felt like somebody's fingernails raking across your rib cage. I broke both my collarbones. That's when things started getting physical.
Tim.
Timmy!
Pick on somebody your own size, huh? He's your brother.
I didn't do it. I just ran straight into the wall. I swear. He just got up and ran straight into the wall.
We have to get him to a hospital.
Months of terror have led up to this moment. An attack. But it would take another 30 years before the brothers would rid their house of the Shadowman. From the time they were young boys, Tim and Tom Yancey were tormented by an evil entity that came out of the woods and into their home. They called the dark figure the Shadowman.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what the problem is here. Boogeyman does bad things to bad kids.
And when Tim was just a boy, it attacked him.
Something, it felt like somebody's fingernails. Very frightening. I panicked. I jumped up out of bed, screaming, just blindly trying to get away from whatever it was that was attacking me.
Tim.
I had no ideas that ghosts could actually harm you.
Things never got any better for us. As soon as my brother was old enough, he left the house. He'd had enough, and I didn't see him again for years. He was gone.
It is now 2009. It's been nearly 30 years since Tim and Tom lived in the house. Their parents, Sonny and Barbara, have since passed away. Tom went on to play football for Florida State University and later became a firefighter and assistant fire chief.
Tim and I just kind of grew apart, and it killed me. I mean, all I wanted was my brother back, you know.
Tim eventually became a paranormal investigator.
If there's any way to take something bad that happened in your life and to turn it into something positive, it's by taking the information that you've learned and using it to help others.
But the brothers still have unfinished business.
My brother and I reconnected again to figure out what we're going to do with this house.
It was quite a while since I'd been to that home. It had a sickening feel to it. It was pretty sickening. It was just evil. It was just an evil feeling.
So, what are we gonna do with this place?
Tim tells Tom he and his wife Trish want to reclaim the house.
What are you, nuts?
I was very surprised that Tim wanted to move into the house simply because of the things that happened. I felt like he wanted to stop the paranormal activity completely. And I think that's why he bought the house, to put a stop to it, to end it.
We made a decision that we weren't going to be afraid anymore. We were going to take back that house.
Tim reaches out to his friend Roy Hall, a violent haunting expert, to help him perform a cleansing ritual in the home. Roy believes the demonic entity from the woods haunted the Yancey family because Tim's father was abusive.
Boys, I warned you. Tell me this was an accident. Where is he? Is he in the tree? Is he in the kitchen?
Tim's house had a lot of dysfunction in it, and that's the thing that something like that feeds upon. Tim Yancey's and Tom's father, having served over in the Korean War, I'm sure he's seen a lot of bad things.
Feel that? I've never stopped feeling that.
This thing that entered the home could have definitely magnified that and keyed on that to try and make him worse than what he really was.
Where's the room? Upstairs.
St. Michael, the Archangel.
The negative energy is strongest in Tim and Tom's old bedroom.
Lord, please help cleanse this house of evil and negativity. Help us make it a place of light and love. A home fit for a family.
St. Michael, the Archangel, defend us in battle against a world of darkness, against evil spirits.
When we were done, you could feel that the energy was different in the home. There was a change in the air. We had displaced the negativity in the home.
Is dinner almost ready? Almost. I'm checking now. All right.
In August of 2009, Tim, Trish, and her son Gabriel move into the Lake Worth, Florida house.
I don't think there is a day where we're going to be able to turn a page and say, oh, whew, that's done.
Tom often drops by for a visit.
Good job.
It's not easy sometimes because you can feel an energy that underlies the house, that underlies my husband.
Oh, it's got a lineman in the family.
Lunch is ready. All right, I'm starving.
That was awesome.
After I left home, I had no interest in paranormal or ghosts, but now that I'm becoming closer with my brother, I'm starting to understand what happened to me in my childhood.
I live in a house today that is full of family, full of laughter, full of humor. It's a joyous place. So many times when Trish and I work with families who are going through a violent haunting, the key is mindset. If you heal the dysfunction in the family, you can heal the haunting.
The forsaken 19th century mansion harbors angry spirits from the past.
There was definitely something there, and it felt like it didn't want us there.
Rumors of a deadly love triangle.
The banker was having an affair with her. One of the speculations was that she was buried in the basement.
And a dark entity with the most evil of intentions.
Whatever it was wasn't human. It frightened me so bad. I can't even describe the terror.
Some houses are better left undisturbed. In America, there is real evil. It lurks in the darkest shadows and in our most ordinary towns. Between the worlds we see and the things we fear, there are doors. When they are opened, nightmares become reality. In the heart of Decatur County lies the small town of Garden Grove, Iowa, where the Rice family, Norman, Jennifer, and son Andrew, has just purchased a 19th century Victorian mansion.
It wasn't hard to fall in love with. It was an amazing place, and I always said, you know, someday I'm going to own you. Someday you're going to be my house. I wanted to live there. It had everything that I ever wanted.
Better than the pictures?
It's incredible.
Just looking at the outside of the mansion, it's breathtaking. It has a commanding presence.
Hey, what do you think, Andrew?
We're gonna live here?
At that point, I would have been about 8, 9 years old. We were moving from a farm, and I was kind of excited, you know, new house. It was really big compared to our old one. It was really just a nice house. I'd never seen anything quite like it before.
Built at the turn of the century, the mansion was commissioned by an affluent businessman and his wife. Garden Grove was in its prime, having served as a shipping point on the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad.
Garden Grove, Iowa, back in the 1800s was the place to be. It was one of the major cities. There were several thousand people that lived there because the railroad came through. It had a nice, long downtown area with lots of shops and bakeries and haberdasheries. And so that's why they chose that, is it was a beautiful place, still country-like, but city-fied.
and Jennifer feels an instant connection to the house.
The house just kind of felt like it belonged to me, like I'd known it at some point in time. It drew you in.
But the picturesque mansion hides secrets from the past.
Come on!
Within these walls, it is rumored that an unspeakable horror took place.
Isn't it grand? I mean, look at all the details. Look at this staircase.
Very clearly, before we even moved in, we knew it was a money pit.
It's incredible, but don't get too crazy.
Norm, it's got to be done right.
For the company I worked at, I actually got a lot of stock options. So we were kind of planning on using that money to put into the house. So we were fully prepared to dump a whole bunch of money into it.
I feel like I'm the one who was meant to restore it to its former glory.
Now, honey, I trust you. This is your passion. Be reasonable.
I think Norman, more than anything, just knew that I loved that house.
Are you sure you're okay with this?
Yeah, if you're happy, I'm happy.
In the months ahead, Norman spends most of his time working for a software company in Arizona, nearly 1,300 miles away. This leaves Jennifer alone to manage the big job of renovating the old house so that her family can move in.
With me being out of town, it kind of gave her something to do since we were apart 90% of the time, being in different states. Her being able to put all of her energy into restoring this house really gave her a sense of accomplishment.
Jennifer hires a main contractor named Claude and a few other workers to help realize her vision of the old Victorian mansion.
It was a mission for me. And I could just see what it should look like. And that's what I loved about having that house. I could just create it from basically the ground up into what it should be and what I loved. Claude was putting in a chandelier, and the ladder was shaking so hard he wasn't sure if it was him shaking it or if there was something shaking it. You could tell he was just freaked.
Wait, what happened?
I don't know. I was pushed.
What do you mean? Who pushed you?
He never really told me what it was that happened. He just was very exaggerated in his speech and his nervousness.
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
I have to go.
He actually told me, I don't want to be in this house anymore.
Jennifer is stunned. It's as if Claude has just seen a ghost.
I told my wife I was gonna be working in this house. You know what she said?
No, what?
Stay out of the basement. What? Why? You know about the basement, right?
No.
That's where he buried her.
Who?
The servant. The woman he was having an affair with. She was pregnant, and he didn't want nobody to know. Then they had an argument. Then she fell down the stairs. He didn't want a scandal, so he buried her down there.
I think a lot of the creepiness and the fact it sat abandoned for so long, it sparked a lot of rumors. And the rumor was that the original owner buried her in the basement.
8-year-old Andrew's curiosity gets the better of him. First, he saw a man in the window, and now the scandalous rumor leads him to the basement.
I couldn't even fathom everybody knowing so much about a house that I had just moved into. But it was kind of cool at the same time. The feeling I got was immediately like someone had just dropped a bunch of bricks on me. It was just really heavy, dense air. It was kind of hard to breathe a little bit. I can remember it being damp. It literally smelled like wet dirt.
In 2001, Jennifer and Norman Rice, along with their 8-year-old son Andrew, moved to Garden Grove, Iowa to restore their new home. The historic mansion is haunted by rumors dating back to the early 1900s of a suspicious death and a secret burial in the basement.
Rumors had spread around town like wildfire that a servant had broken her neck. Some had even speculated that the owner was having an affair with her. Since he was prominent, he couldn't have that kind of thing on his record. So one of the speculations was that she was buried in the basement. I never went back down to the basement again. I had thought maybe it was a skeleton grabbing me from underneath the ground. Maybe because I had seen one too many horror movies as a kid.
By July 2001, the majority of the renovations on the house are complete, despite the fact that all of the contractors have deserted the job. With Andrew's father, Norman, frequently away on business, his mother has no choice but to finish the house on her own.
I remember her having so many stressful nights because we would bring in contractors to try to fix this place up, and they would just leave.
Jennifer suspects that it has something to do with the rumors surrounding the house. But she doesn't believe the old wives' tale.
It was somewhat unnerving, but it was an amazing house and it had amazing potential. And that's all I could think about for a while. It didn't matter what people said. There's always going to be rumors, especially in small towns. But as time wore on and some of the things that happened, I began to wonder. I started hearing noises I really couldn't explain.
Andrew?
Especially late at night. You don't really think things through. Some of it could be written off to being tired, late night. It's the creepy factor.
Sleep tight.
It is now the late summer of 2001. Norman is still working full-time 1,300 miles away in Arizona, while Jennifer and Andrew adjust to the family-friendly Garden Grove, Iowa area. One night, Andrew invites his friend Cody for a sleepover.
Ah, yes! Lightsaber. Ah. Seriously, Andrew? Why'd you push my truck out?
Sorry.
Cody?
I remember Cody, when I looked up at him, he just points at the top of the stairs. Next thing we know, he just vanished.
Where is he?
In the beginning, everything was roses.
Home sweet home.
You know, we'd spent all the time fixing the house up. But it didn't take too much longer after that to realize there was something off about the house. I chose to ignore a lot of things because I was elated and it was my dream.
By the summer of 2001, Jennifer Rice has completed renovations on an abandoned 19th century Victorian mansion in Iowa. And while the home's rumored history of a mysterious death merely lurks in the back of her mind, her son Andrew comes face to face with evil.
After that had happened, Cody had never spent the night again. And as a matter of fact, he really never even talked to me ever again.
Despite his terrifying encounter with the ghostly entity, Andrew decides not to tell his mother what he saw.
I didn't want to worry her because I didn't know how she really would react to it at the time. So I just avoided the subject altogether.
In September 2001, news that the once dilapidated mansion has been restored begins to spread through the small town of Garden Grove, Iowa.
We had people that would knock on the door. I'm sorry to bother you, but I've always loved this house. Or I knew so-and-so who lived here, and I always wanted to see this house. And we finally decided we would do an open house.
I just want to thank you for opening your house to all of us.
Oh, well, thank you for coming.
As we're doing tours, this sweet little old lady started telling me that she was so pleased to see somebody finally working on that house.
My great uncle is the banker who built this house.
And then she explained that she was the great niece.
I know he would be very pleased to see how you're caring for it.
She had watched over the years how people came and went and left it sit and rot. You could tell it broke her heart.
And he and his wife would have been very happy to see a child growing up here.
Oh, that's my son, Andrew. Please come in.
I have something for you.
The great-niece brought a beautiful scrapbook full of pictures. And she showed us this picture, lovely picture about yay big, of the original owners.
Jennifer is struck by the image of the husband.
It was just an old black and white yellowed photo, but you could tell he had the palest blue eyes you've ever seen because you could barely see the pupils.
Then Jennifer suddenly recalls the rumors surrounding the man and the Victorian mansion.
Did you ever hear any of the rumors about this house?
That's what they are. Rumors. Don't believe everything you hear.
Of course not.
What happened was they married later in life.
Did they have any children?
They wanted children so badly.
So they didn't have children. And you can tell they planned on having children because there was a child's room adjoined to the master bedroom.
That's my son Andrew's room. Andrew, come here, sweetie. This nice lady was just telling me that her great uncle is the one who built our house.
Very pleased to meet you, Andrew.
You too.
Look at what she brought us.
As she's showing us all these pictures, I started realizing that I had seen the banker somewhere before. Is the man I saw the first time I went in the house. And then again at the top of the stairs.
I need to go help Dad.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what that was about.
Scared and confused, Andrew continues to keep his experiences to himself.
I was just in a kind of state of denial, really, because I just was thinking, oh, well, no, this is really happening. I just remember pushing it out to the side, pushing it off to the side, because I didn't want to even try to rationalize it. This was not something that I could just tell somebody, because unless you're there, you really can't fix it. So, I mean, I kept this to myself as best as I could.
For more haunting, visit destinationamerica.com. Since his terrifying encounter in the basement, 8-year-old Andrew Rice has felt an unsettling presence in his 19th century house in Garden Grove, Iowa.
At that point, it scared me so much. I would just go over to a friend's house, or I'd go walk down the street and go play at the park. You know, I just find any way to avoid the situation altogether.
But after seeing old photos of the original owner, a once prominent businessman, Andrew is now convinced that his ghost is haunting the home. His father, Norman, who is often away on business, is completely in the dark.
My job is extremely stressful, trying to do software development and traveling too, and so they wanted me to be more concentrated on my work and not have to really worry too much about the house itself. They didn't really talk to me about it at all.
A lot of times my dad was out of town, so he had no idea what was going on.
One night, Andrew has a new visitor.
When I looked up, I saw this lady just sitting in my rocking chair.
At first, Andrew is stunned at the sight, but then he recognizes who she is.
I had seen the lady somewhere before. It took me a minute, but then I realized it's the banker's wife.
Mom, I saw her. The woman in the photo, the banker's wife. She was sitting in the rocking chair in my room.
He said, I saw a ghost. He was very shaken up about it.
It's okay. Maybe you're just dreaming.
You can really scare yourself when you're alone by overthinking things. We were very used to being alone, and I think we tended to underthink things.
No, I'm serious. She looked exactly like the photo. It was her, and that's not all. I've seen the banker, too.
Maybe they're friendly ghosts. They always wanted to have children, and your bedroom was supposed to be the nursery. Maybe that's why they're drawn to you. Or that's why they come to you.
Mom had told me that she wasn't there to harm me, more so she was watching over me. So she just said, oh, don't worry about it.
You want to sleep in here tonight?
Despite Andrew's compelling tale, Jennifer isn't entirely convinced that the house is haunted.
I didn't want to believe that there was anything going on. I just didn't. I'm stubborn. I'm very stubborn. And if I don't see it, it didn't happen.
It is now January 2002. Andrew and his mother have been living in the house for 7 months while his father is often away on business. But that winter, Norman returns to Garden Grove and is told nothing about his son's encounters with ghosts.
I'm so glad you're home.
It just wasn't something that came up, you know? I didn't really feel like starting a, gee, I think our house is haunted conversation.
But one night, a dark force decides to make its presence known.
Norman? Something picked us up, and we landed on the bed.
We were both wakened at the same time by some black entity, just some ominous presence.
What was that? You felt it too, right?
Yes.
There was no way to rationalize it. There was just no way. It was unexplainable. So that was the first time I hadn't been able to just explain it away.
This isn't something that happened by yourself. We're both sitting there talking about the same thing that just happened, so we know this was real. This was no dream.
And now, Jennifer can no longer deny the truth.
Norman, I have something to tell you. I think the house is haunted.
By what? Ghosts?
Yes. A banker and his wife. They lived here in the 19th century. Andrew's been seeing them.
Jennifer kind of starts hinting at things that had been happening to Andrew that I wasn't aware of.
There's a rumor around town. The banker had a servant girl who was pregnant.
I will have you thrown out and you'll starve in the streets.
She died here. And they buried her in our basement.
In our basement? Why'd you wait so long to tell me?
I thought if we ignored it, it would just go away. But now this, we both felt it. There's something here.
You just want to pack up and leave?
No.
There's nothing more to talk about, is there?
It made me feel like this is all my fault. But we didn't talk about it. It was frustrating, it was isolating. I felt alone because I didn't want to talk about it and stir it up.
But now that the secret is out, Norman begins to dread spending time in his new home, where he suddenly feels unwelcome.
You almost feel like you're going into a depression, thinking, okay, we've spent a lot of money on this house, and now do you want to admit that somehow a house can say, I don't want you here?
Although he doesn't believe in ghosts, Norman can't shake the unnerving feeling that he is not alone. And that something still lurks in the basement.
Walking in that basement for the first time, basements can be scary, and this one definitely was. It just kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies. There was some ominous mass there keeping the light from shining into the basement. It was like something just sucked the light out and it was pitch black. That had to be the most scared I ever was in that house.
For nearly a year and a half, the Rice family has been living in a haunted 19th century Victorian mansion in Iowa, plagued by dark secrets from the past. Their presence in the once abandoned house has stirred up angry ghosts still roaming the property. But that fall, a new evil spirit is unearthed from deep inside the house, and Norman has a terrifying encounter in the basement. Instantly, something in him begins to change. It's as if the evil force is taking over his body and his soul.
It felt like the longer I was in that house, just the more angry I could get at nothing. Anything at all could set me off. I don't know if it was the house changing me or was it just me.
As as Norman became more agitated, more angry, more sullen, reclusive, the things in the house manifested more strongly.
It scared me. I was just getting numb to everything because it was just getting worse and worse. And at this point, I just started not feeling anything.
But fortunately, Norman's job soon takes him out of state on business for several weeks. His absence comes as a welcome relief.
I just knew that there wasn't going to be another day of yelling and screaming and wondering what was going to set him off. I was happy when he left. I mean, that's the very sad part.
But with or without Norman, little do his wife and son know. They are not safe. The evil spirit has been awakened.
We had just gotten home from Sunday church, and my friend from down the street, he would always call and leave me a message after he got off of church so we could go hang out and play.
Honey, what are you doing? It's broken.
No, it's not.
It's not even plugged in.
The light was blinking, just like a normal, somebody left a message. So, I don't know why I did it, but I pushed the play button. Out of that came a noise, whatever it was wasn't human, but as I turned it up, you could hear very clearly.
You could tell his intention was to make us leave.
I was scared. At that point in time, I was scared.
Terrified, Jennifer reaches out to her last resort, the church. Weeks later, a group of parishioners arrive to conduct a house blessing. The evil immediately lures them to the basement.
In the name of Jesus Christ, we dedicate this home as a sacred edifice.
They were around the basement, leaning inward with their Bibles while they were praying.
Lord, we ask that you protect this home so that Norman, Jennifer, and Andrew Rice can worship and grow spiritually in peace. Amen.
Amen.
Afterwards, the parishioners retreat. They do not speak about their experience.
They were very visibly upset. They did not want to talk about it.
The house blessing is now complete, and Jennifer has faith that it will make a difference.
I honestly believed that it would be better. I really did, because he picked the strongest people in our church, the most steadfast people I knew. I was very hopeful.
I had felt maybe it could get better, but at the same time, after going through that for so many months, I had learned just not to get my hopes too far up.
With her husband Norman out of town, Jennifer tries to remain strong for Andrew.
Norman?
My mind is like, what? I know he is not here.
Norman, is that you? Norman?
For well over 2 years, angry ghosts and an evil spirit have been haunting the Rice family in their 19th century Victorian home in Garden Grove, Iowa. In the fall of 2003, while her husband Norman is out of town, Jennifer wakes to the sound of heavy footsteps in the hall.
Norman, is that you? Norman?
I saw that thing. I didn't know what it was, and then it looked at me. I can't move. It's gonna get me. I'm feeling like I'm gonna die of a heart attack. I can't even describe the terror. I knew then that it could create whatever it wanted to scare us.
But this new entity is just starting its reign of terror. And soon, it targets the weakest member of the family.
When I looked up, the best way to describe this, I saw this Batman almost. It was just this huge black form. I feel this presence enclosed around me. It was just strong, and I knew that if I had struggled, it would have just tightened his grip even more.
All I want to do is get to Andrew. That's my first thought. I gotta get Andrew and run. I want to get out of here. I want out.
Come on, baby, come on. She didn't even grab her shoes. She just picked me up. We ran out the door.
Come on, Andrew. Come on, sweetie. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay.
I was too scared to look in the back seat, in the rearview mirror, because I was afraid that thing was in the car with us.
Sorry, sweetie.
That was it. I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. We needed to sell it and move.
Finally, in November 2004, after 3 years of terror, the Rice family sells the 19th century Victorian mansion.
I was heartbroken, naturally. It was my dream. But I knew my family just had been through enough. So I had to say, sorry and start all over again.
We admitted defeat. We were cutting our losses, but then after we sold the house, and even now today, I'm glad that we did. It seems like getting out of that house played a big role in getting our family back on the right track. Family is definitely more important than any house.
After we sold the house, everything seemed to return to normal. Where we lived was just a nice, calm little house that didn't have any worries, and my dad just started feeling my dad again.
Still, even years later, Jennifer is unable to let go, wanting answers about her family's terrifying ordeal.
It had been probably 5 years. I just guess I wanted to find out whether or not this really was just about my family or was it related to the house. So I knocked on the door, nobody was there.
And to this day, Jennifer has not been able to determine if the new family has experienced anything paranormal. What happened to the Rice family in Garden Grove? And what, if anything, lies buried in the basement remains a mystery.
I think that thing saw a source of power that it could draw from. I was feeling fear, my mom was feeling stress, my dad was feeling anger. All those are negative, and it gave it something to feed off of.
I think that the worst of it came from the turmoil in the family. This thing, whatever it was in the house, had to break us up. It had to get between us.
I just hope that no one else ever has to go through the same thing that we did.